Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Yes, indeed. This is nutritional pharmacist Jerry Hickey for Invite Health. Today we're going to discuss in this episode the effect of fish and fish oils on your risk of breast cancer. For many decades, we've known that lifestyle and eating habits can affect your risk of developing cancer. A good diet and exercise lowers the risk. A poor diet and obesity increases the risk. So what about breast cancer? Yeah, a lot of data. Eating can affect the risk. So here's a study from JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association, their internal medicine. It's part of JAMA Network Journals, from 2015. And they're looking at the effect of food on breast cancer. And they found that these are researchers in Spain, and they're looking at over 4,000 women with an average age of 67. They were at risk of having heart disease. They were very overweight. They had a big belly. They had a body mass index over 30. And they followed them for nearly 5 years, and they found if they had a Mediterranean-type diet that was rich in extra virgin olive oil, it showed a 68% lowered risk of malignant breast cancer. That's unbelievably powerful. A Mediterranean diet, there's very little red meat. There's a lot of fresh vegetables and salads and fresh fruit and seeds and nuts. And in this case, extra virgin olive oil. They also tend to eat some poultry and also fish. So right there you have diet connected with a lowered risk of breast cancer. So what about fish oils? There's been a lot of evidence that fish oils lower the risk of many things. Sudden cardiac death, massive heart attacks, shrinkage of the brain and dementia, but also breast cancer. So here's the journal Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention. This is a journal of the American Association for Cancer Research, and it adds to the evidence. This is from 2010, the year 2010, and it adds to the evidence that fish oils and fish lower the risk of breast cancer. So it's the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center in Seattle, Washington, a research center of note, and they're looking at over 35,000 postmenopausal women. They do not have a history of breast cancer. And they gave them a 24-page questionnaire, and they're looking at specifically their use of non-vitamin, non-mineral supplements, like herbs, like green tea, like fish oils. And over the course of 6 years, they found 880 cases of breast cancer. Now, these are women. What the researchers found in these women is women who took fish oil supplements long term. Fish oils supply EPA, DHA, two long-chain fatty acids found in fish. Women who took fish oil supplements long term had a 32% reduced risk of developing breast cancer. That is powerful. 32% reduced risk. This is a very common cancer. Reducing the risk 32% will offer protection for many, many, many tens of thousands of women. So that was July 2010. This is June 2013. It's in the British Medical Journal. And it's a team of researchers. They set out to investigate an association between fish and also fish oils and the risk of breast cancer. So they looked at how much fish oils they ate, but they also looked at blood tests. So they found 26 studies from the United States, from Europe, from Asia. This had over 800,000 women and over 20,000 cases of breast cancer. And what they found was, no doubt about it, compared to the highest intake of fish and fish oils, compared to the lowest intake, a 14% reduction in the risk of breast cancer. Now, mind you, that's a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis takes research that's looking at the same functions, like in this case does fish or fish oils lower the risk of breast cancer, and groups the studies together and comes to a conclusion, does it work or doesn't it? And when you do a meta-analysis, it usually weakens the results. So if you're doing a meta-analysis including 26 studies, and you still get a 14% reduced risk of breast cancer, that's thousands of women that are having a lowered risk of breast cancer simply by eating fish or taking fish oil supplements. So let's go a little bit fast forward. February 2016. This is Penn State, the Milton S. Hershey Medical Center. And they're looking at fish oils once again and breast cancer. Now this is postmenopausal women, but these women are at a high risk of breast cancer because they're obese. Obesity increases the risk of many cancers: colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, prostate cancer, and of course breast cancer. So they found that it worked, that there really is a level of protection that comes from the fish oils, lowering the risk of breast cancer. They feel that it's due to the anti-inflammatory effect. Now, here's March 2017. It's the Faculty of Food Science and Human Nutrition, University of Iceland, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health in Boston, the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, Sweden, the National Institute on Aging in Bethesda, Maryland, and Brigham and Women's Hospital up in Boston, and Harvard Medical School. They used data on 9,400 women born between 1908 to 1935, and they gave them food frequency questionnaires at different times throughout their life. And they also separated women living in the capital, Reykjavik, versus women living in small coastal towns and cities where they ate a lot of fish. And here's what they found. In this Icelandic population, lower risk of breast cancer among women who had high fish consumption 4 times a week or more in adolescence. In adolescence, if you had a lot of fish, it reduced the risk of breast cancer by a whopping 29%. But listen to this. In women who had 4 servings of fish or more per week in midlife, reduced their risk of breast cancer by 54%. Now, of course, there's other things in fish beyond fish oils. There's also protein, there's certain minerals and vitamins, like there's some magnesium, but you know the fish oils are going to be a part of this because a lot of evidence is showing this. So this is the journal Critical Review in Food Science and Nutrition from 2019. And it's an updated meta-analysis. It's 22 studies all told with thousands and thousands and thousands of women. Women in the highest intake of fish oils lowered their relative risk of breast cancer by 16% minimally. Now that's saying a lot. Once again, common cancer, if you can lower the risk 10%, 20%, you're protecting a lot of women. So some of the evidence shows that fish oils have a huge ability to reduce the risk of breast cancer, fish oils and eating fish. What it seems to be is, if you really look at the data, it seems to be about a 24% lower risk of ductal carcinoma in situ, the most common breast cancer, and invasive breast cancer. 24% reduced risk would protect tens of thousands of women in America each year, lowering their risk strongly of developing breast cancer. And that was about 500 milligrams of EPA DHA total a day. So if you get a capsule that has 300 milligrams of EPA and 200 milligrams of DHA, and you just took one a day, That, according to a big meta-analysis, that was associated with a 24% lowered risk of breast cancer. That is pretty strong. So thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. Now, before I go any further, if you have any question about anything I said, let me give you an email address, which goes to 5 of our nutritionists at Invite Health, nutrition@invitehealth.com. So if you have any question on anything I said or you want more information, etc., nutrition@invitehealth.com. Now, as far as our episodes, you could find them for free wherever you listen to your podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe. Please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And I hope to see you another time in a future episode of the Invite Health podcast. Thank you so much for listening.